everyone, Aurora with Supercharged Science, Homeschool Science Curriculum and Resources for K through 12. And today I'm just going to give you a couple, this is going to be like the shortest video ever that I've done. Usually they're like super long. But it's about how to do math with everyday life experiences. So don't make a big deal out of it, but just show the kids how practical and real it is so that you answer the what's it for and why should I care answer. So if you like this and you want more, you can download my free guidebook on this. It's www.superchargedscience.com/homeschool. Superchargedscience.com/homeschool. You can download that free guide. Okay, so I'm driving to the store yesterday, the grocery store, and I hate going to the grocery store, especially on a Sunday. But my kids are having an absolute blast, and I've got two other people's kids in the car with me, and they are swept up in how excited my kids are, and they're doing math lessons and teaching other people. So what did we just do? Well, we're driving along. My kids see a license plate. License plates have numbers on them, right? So we have this game that we made up, and I'm sure it's somewhere, but how we do it is they'll see the license plate, and they'll pick 3 numbers off of it, and they can use any math operation to get to 10. So plus, subtract, so addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. They can use factorials, they can use exponents, they can use negative numbers. So any way they can somehow get to 10, and they race each other to see how fast they can do it. So for example, if I had like 6, I should have thought of this earlier. I said like 154. So 1 plus 5 plus 4 would give you 10, right? But there are some harder ones, you know, like if I have an 8 in there, but I need it really to be a 2, I can take the cube root of it, right? 2 times 2 times 2, okay? Or if I need the 2 to become an 8. So we're starting to really understand numbers just by doing this simple task. And kids are getting better at doing mental math. So that's really easy. For an example, I'm just pulling these out of a hat. So 193. So if I take the 3 and then I square it, that would be a 9. Add the 1, then I get 10, right? There's a couple that we haven't been able to do, and those are really interesting too. But I think one of my older kids figured it out with logarithms. So I was like log base 7 or something. But anyway, so you get the point. So you make it fun, make it engaging, and it's not too complicated, and there's no endless rounds of worksheets or drills, but they're getting the hang of these things. In fact, when I pulled out the factorial thing, they're like, wait a minute, 0 factorial is 1? How do you do that? Or, you know, 2 factorial, or 2 factorial is 2, but 3 factorial is 6. I can change a 3 to a 6 if I need it now. And it's like, wait, how'd you do that? So that's an easy one. And next time you're at the grocery store, here's something else you can do. You can do it with the numbers and the prices because they're usually 3 digits, right? That's $2.99. So there are a lot of ways you can do this. Okay. My second tip is next time you go to the grocery store. So once we're done with the license plate game, we actually get in there, and the kids, I give them 20 bucks, and we're going to see who can get the best deal for their money, the bang for the buck. And you know, they have certain guidelines, and so what are they doing? They're budgeting. They're cruising around the store, and they're not so quick to put things in my cart as they are in their cart, knowing that they only have $20, and if they go over, it comes out of their bank account. So now they're thinking, oh, okay, so my goal is, you know, I have a friend coming over, we're going to bake something. What are we going to bake? Cookies. Great, let's spend it all on chocolate chips. Well, now we have no flour. So it makes it more practical, like what do we got to use this division thing for anyway? So answering the what's it for and who cares, right? Like what do I have to use trigonometric functions for? You know, cosine, cosecant, hyperbolic tangent. When are you going to use those things? So that's why when you do your science lesson specifically, that's when you're actually going to be starting to do trigonometry and geometry. And so as long as your kids have done up through the multiplication tables, either whether it's 12 or the 20 times, whatever is best fit for your kids. Once you've done that, by the way, if you need help memorizing the multiplication tables, write this down. Go to SciCast, S-C-I-C-A-S-T, SciCast.superchargedscience.com. There is a couple of videos there on that website. There's like 26 free videos that'll teach you how you can memorize the multiplication table in like 5 minutes. So SciCast.superchargedscience.com, so you can look at that. Okay, so once they've done multiplication tables, everything else is application. So they are starting to see, like, when do we use linear algebra? When do we start to use geometry? When do we use calculus? And that comes from your science lessons. So math is the language of science. So once you started to get into your science, you're doing physics, you're doing acceleration, you're doing forces. Now we can see, oh, that's what the cosine is for. That's what the tangent is for. Oh, this makes sense. This is what calculus is for. There was a really famous problem I gave my kids one time, and my students actually, and it was imagine the Earth. Imagine you had the Earth and you could drill a hole all the way through, right? And you can go all the way to the other side. Now, if I have a package and I want to get it so this would be like a perfect Amazon example. I have a package here and I need to get it through the hole, through the core of the Earth magically, and come out the other side. You know, what's the speed? Does it actually pop out the end, or does it accelerate, or does it decelerate? What happens with gravity as you come towards the core? It was a calculus problem. But kids saw the application. You're like, wait, I can't do this with regular algebra. I actually need to know the rates. I need to know the slope. I need to know this. I need to know that. And you're like, oh, that's what calculus is for. Got it. And it was so applicable. It was a silly problem, but they can start to see how these tools come together. All right, I want to close with this last thing. Now, by the way, if you like this, whoa, sorry, earthquake, camera quake. If you like this and you want more, go to www.superchargedscience.com/homeschool. I want to end on one last note. I wrote a post about it yesterday, and I got a lot of great feedback for it saying, please tell me more. So if your kid is asking why a lot, like more than, it seems normal to you, or it's just driving you crazy, take a look at that. So, for example, we are working on electronics, and I've got this 7-year-old who's like a total whiz at this, and he's amazing, right? But then he'll come to a point and he'll say, well, why? Why does this happen? And this is where you have to understand that the science is a tool to answer questions. And so if you can design a science experiment to answer that question, that's what science is for. But science is a tool, and it's a way of thinking, and it has limitations. Now, there are some things that science just can't answer, and it's just the way things are wired. Like gravity. Why? Well, it just is. We can't explain it, but we know it's there. So if you have a kid that's like that, a way you can turn this around so they're not just frustrated, like, what do you mean why? Just because, that's not satisfying, right? So you can ask them, well, what specifically is it that you want to know? Is it that you're wondering, do things go faster, accelerate faster down to the floor of your house if you're on top of Mount Everest, or down at the beach? Or are you wondering, is gravity the same on all planets? Like what specifically? If you can transform that why question into a how question, then your kids are going to be how we call better scientists, because they're going to be asking better questions. Part of the trick of half the battle of really being an amazing scientist is being able to frame that question in a way that you can design an experiment to answer it. And so if you just ask lousy questions like, why does this always happen to me? It's like, well, because, right? So your brain's going to come and you're not going to be able to answer some of those questions. So if you can take those why questions, like, well, why does gravity do its thing? It's like, why specific? What are you trying to answer specifically? And this can be a challenge because kids often are still learning how to express what they've got going on in here. So sometimes the words that come out frustrates them because they're like, it doesn't match what I've got in my head, and I wish I could just tell you and plug in your brain to mine so you could see what's going on and I don't have to communicate it. so having some patience and just teaching your kids how to communicate those ideas, because again, that's another mark of a great scientist. All your ideas are worthless if you can't communicate with other people so you can collaborate, work together, and help discover and invent new things. So I hope this is helpful. You have license plates, you have grocery stores to go to, and you're learning how to reframe your why questions into how questions. And those are the ones that you'll be able to design experiments for. So I'm actually working on 2 new experiments. You're going to be getting my emails. So those of you who are on my email list, you're going to be getting the unipolar motor and how to play with your breakfast cereal in a magnetism lesson. So those are coming out really soon. If you're not on my email list, just when you download my free guidebook, you will get a free experiment every week. And so that's another way that you can enjoy doing science with your kids. So thank you so much for allowing me to help you with your science curriculum, and I will see you next time. If you want to share this video with a friend, that would be fabulous, so we all make the world an amazing, better place than we first entered into it. And so that's even better. So thank you everyone so much. I will see you next time. Take care.